This is the second day of this July 2024 7-day sesshin. Before we go back to the letters of Zen Master Yuanwu, I thought I just might hit on some of the main points of posture, sitting posture. I say this because as recently as just a few years ago, I realized how helpful it is to sit on one's sit bones. Sit bones are these two bones up at the front of the buttocks. Sitting on the sit bones creates this pelvic tilt, the very base of the spine. It's hard. I realize that I spent many years sitting half lotus and sometimes full lotus in sesshin, and I was not sitting on my sit bones, and so it wasn't the best base. You got to get the base right at the very bottom. You think of a tall building. You got to get the foundation solid. We sit at the front third of the cushion. If you sit with that pelvic tilt, sit forward on the sit bones, then the vertebrae all stack up like poker chips, all the way up. I mean, ideally, everyone has. I don't know, or how many people have a perfect back, I don't know, but you're less likely to have middle back or upper back problems if you get that lower the base of the spine right. And I think it's, for most people, it's hard to sit on the sit bones if you're sitting in a half lotus or lotus, even possibly a quarter lotus position. I've become very fond of the Burmese position. I had to adopt it after an injury and meniscus surgery, but now I just really see the value of it. We call it the Burmese because it's the posture most widely used in Burma or Myanmar. It's where the both feet are on the mat in front of you or tucked under. Neither foot is up at all. The ankles are both on the mat. I know that for some people, even this relatively easy cross-legged posture is still too difficult for one reason or another, and may have to sit seiza, sit on your knees. But you can still, sitting on the knees, straddling a cushion, you still want to get that pelvic tilt. And then the head position. You want to have the head drawn back like a drawer, so the back of the neck is against the collar. If you can. Some people have a bit of a stoop and may not be able to do that, but if you can, to keep that chin drawn in. I took a yoga class once where what he said matches perfectly with the traditional Zen sitting posture, which is, it's as if you're holding an orange or a tangerine under your chin. Now the chin is not up at all. When that chin rises, then it just sucks thoughts into the mind. So be sure not to lift the chin, but it also is not good to lower it, to dip the chin. Again, it's drawn in, not down, not up, but drawn in, with the back of the neck against the collar, the back of the neck stretched up, lengthened, the back of the neck lengthened. Of course, the shoulders utterly relaxed, as relaxed as you possibly can allow them to be. And all of this, by the way, is also true during Kinhin. That is these main features to keep the head drawn in, chin neither down nor up. We'll resume with reading from the book Zen Letters, which are the teachings of 11th and 12th century Chinese master, Chan master Yuanwu. Pick up where we left off yesterday. Those who realize transcendence pass through words and phrases and can make them come to life. They can use one saying as 100,000 sayings, or use 100,000 sayings as one saying. This reflects the emphasis in Zen on live words, words that come out of one's center, one's that rather than just out of the intellect. Words uttered with spontaneity. The Venerable Yang asked Zhao Zhou, when one hasn't a single thing, then what? Zhao Zhou is the Chinese name, the original Chinese name of what became Joshu in Japanese. When one hasn't a single thing, then what? Zhao Zhou said, put it down. Yang asked, if I don't have it, what should I throw away? Zhao Zhou said, then carry it away. Let's try that again, because I've changed the translation here to the one. This is a koan in the Shoyoroku, the Book of Serenity. When one hasn't a single thing, then what? Throw it away. Yang asked, well, if I don't have a single thing, what should I throw away? Zhao Zhou said, then carry it away. These words, Yang was greatly enlightened. Later, another master wrote a verse to go along with this story. Not having a single thing, he can't lift it even using both arms. A clear-eyed man like Zhao Zhou is hard to find at a word. Yang realized his error. If he stepped back, he'd fall into a deep pit. In his heart was boundless joy, like that of a pauper finding a jewel. Once the poison is forgotten, there's no connection. Snakes and tigers became his intimate friends. Different species, equally understood over the lonely centuries. The pure wind has never stopped. This pure wind is right with us. Throughout the Zendo, in each one of us. It has nothing to do with the ceiling fans. But those first two lines, not having a single thing, he can't lift it even using both arms. We could rephrase that, having nothing, He can't lift it even using both arms. And then Yuanwu, the author, just poses the question. If you discuss Zhao Zhou's answer, throw it away, from the standpoint of common sense, Yan Yang said he wasn't bringing a single thing, so how could Zhao Zhou tell him to throw it away? Zhao Zhou saw into the mind of Yang Yang what Yang Yang himself couldn't see. Yuanwu says, from this we know that the type of objective reality illuminates the finest subtleties. Zhao Zhou exposed the serious disease of carrying one's conditioned perceptions around everywhere to make Yang Yang begin to feel shame. But Yang Yang still did not realize what Zhao Zhou meant, so he persisted with his question. So we know from this that Yang Yang still was bringing baggage in when he claimed to not have a single thing. Zhao Zhou again pointed out his error, at which point Yang Yang dissolved and at last was thoroughly set free. Later on, Yang Yang got to the point that he could tame wild tigers and poisonous snakes. Notice this segment here where Yuanwu says, Zhao Zhou exposed the serious disease of carrying around one's conditioned perceptions to make Yang Yang begin to feel shame. This would be denounced in contemporary terms, but the Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, they recognized that with some feeling of shame, one can be prompted to make greater effort. Having some shame can be an incentive to go further. The fear of bringing shame to one's family, to one's country, to one's teacher, the fear of bringing shame is a tremendous motivator in East Asia. And then Yuanwu tells another story. Layman Pang was with his whole family sitting around the fire. Layman Pang is considered one of the three most illustrious lay people, enlightened lay people in the history of Zen. The one was Vimalakirti, and the third one escapes me. Layman Pang suddenly said, now they're sitting around the fire, Layman Pang suddenly said, difficult. 10 bushels of oil hemp spread out on a tree. His wife, Mrs. Pang, said, easy, on the tips of the 100 grasses, the meaning of Zen. And then their daughter, Ling Zhao, said, not difficult, not easy. Eating when hungry, sleeping when tired. It's always a matter of perspective, isn't it? We could say, let's take up the whole matter of sesshin. We can easily see how it's difficult, difficult because of our habitual, our habit of fleeing into thoughts and then clinging to thoughts. The habit force is so strong that it's difficult to just hold the mind on the practice. It's easy, Mrs. Pong said, because on every single thing, the tips of the 100 grasses, the meaning of Zen. The burning candles, the cattails, at the tips of the cattails, the meaning of Zen. Rain falling. There's a lot of this in the koans too, where a later master will look back and quote an earlier one and just playfully take the other side. What do you mean difficult? It's easy. And then Ling Zhao took the cake, saying, not difficult, not easy, eating when hungry, sleeping when tired. When hungry, just eating. When tired, just sleeping. The just. Always in Zen, the just is the key thing. Our restless, discursive mind complicates everything, the simplest things. It makes the simplest things difficult. Yuanwu continues, when Bodhidharma came from the West bringing the Zen transmission to China, he didn't set up written or spoken formulations. He only pointed directly to the human mind. So he didn't come with a backpack of sutras, treatises. He demonstrated the essence of Zen by facing the wall, by finding a cave and facing the wall for 9 years. There, directly pointing. And we have learned this from him, and we too, in the Zendo, directly pointing. Being this Dharma, not talking about it, not discussing it, being it. As we allow thoughts to settle and we look into the nature of things through the koan or through the breath or through neither. Yuanwu continues, if we speak of direct pointing, this just refers to what is inherent in everyone. The whole essence appears responsively from within the shell of ignorance. This is no different in ordinary people than in all the sages since time immemorial. It is what we call the natural, real, inherent nature. Fundamentally pure, luminous, and sublime. It swallows up and spits out all of space. It is a single solid realm that stands out alone, free of the senses and their objects. Free of meaning beyond, not limited to the senses and their objects. This sentence, it is pure, luminous, and sublime. It is what we call the natural, real, inherent nature, fundamentally pure, luminous, and sublime. This is, by the way, what I see with each person who comes into the Doksan room. Really. And why that initial bow, with me sitting and bowing and the student standing and bowing, is so endlessly meaningful. I'm bowing to that natural, real, inherent nature, that pure, sublime, luminous nature in the form of that particular person. It's marvelous. Here is this essential nature as Jennifer. Here is this essential nature as Fred. Here's this essential nature as Marion. Fascinating how it takes different forms. No different in ordinary people than in all the sages since time immemorial. And how do we come to see everyone and everything this way? He says, just detach from thoughts. There it is again. Detach from thoughts. Cut off sentiments. That is, don't cling to even genuine feelings and emotions. And transcend the ordinary conventions. Use your own inherent power and take up its great capacity and great wisdom right where you are. It is like letting go when you're hanging from a mile-high cliff, releasing your body and not relying on anything anymore. I've learned over the years that this kind of talk, hanging from a mile-high cliff, releasing, letting go, can be frightening to some people. They become uneasy at the sound of that. But really, he's just dramatizing and using live words to point to our need to let go of our thoughts, to detach from thoughts. We are so addicted to our thoughts. We know what we need to do, and yet there's this habit force. It's so hard to let go of. Difficult. Or easy. Just notice how your attention is directed. And when you find it on thoughts, just redirect to the koan, to the breath, or to just letting go of the thoughts. No matter how many times you find yourself caught in thought, it's the same. It's just redirect. Turn the attention away from that. That's releasing your body and not relying on anything anymore. He continues, at this stage you are free to go forward in the wild field without choosing, picking up whatever comes to hand. The meaning of the ancestral teachers is clear in all that grows there. What's more, the thickets of green bamboo and the masses of yellow flowers and the fences and walls and tiles and pebbles are inanimate things teaching the Dharma. The water birds and the groves of trees expound the truths of suffering, impermanence, and no self. These are what are called the three characteristics of existence: suffering, impermanence, and no self. The first two should be obvious to anyone, that all life involves some degree of suffering, pain, impermanence, of course. Where is there anything that is unchanging? And no self, that's less obvious, but it's still true. Here at Chapin Mill, these towering trees, these lush green bushes and lawns, the birds, the sounds of the birds. First thing in the morning. They started this morning at 5 o'clock, just clocking in. Exquisite. When the mind is free of thoughts, it's not just the bird songs. It's all sights, sounds, tastes, smells. With these illimitable riches all around us all the time, we are, as Yuanwu says, free to go forward in the wild field without choosing, picking up whatever comes to hand. Everything is teaching. Even those big rocks out in front of the main entrance, the road itself, that asphalt road, the insects, Now we turn to another letter. He begins, those who are determined to practice the way, practice self-awareness and self-understanding 24 hours a day. They think of this and focus on this. They know that the one great cause, that's capitalized here by the translator, that the one great cause is there right where they stand, that it is in sages without being augmented and in ordinary people without being diminished. He's talking, of course, about mind. Not this discursive, discriminating mind that separates and evaluates, judges, but mind, this. True practitioners, he says, don't set up fixed locations in anything they do. I'm not sure what he means there, but we might say that when the mind is free of thoughts, then we're not distinguishing between here and there unnecessarily. There's just this. They are clear and tranquil with solid concentration, and the myriad changes and transformations never disturb them. There's a Zen saying, "Great winds are powerless to disturb the water of a deep well." This is something that anyone can confirm in Sesshin, especially later in Sesshin. But what may have been disturbing us early in Sesshin becomes nothing. These restless, critical minds of ours can find things to pick at among our neighbors, others in Sesshin, about the way things are. But then as our thoughts settle, nothing disturbs us. Everything is at rest, just as it is. He says right now, if students are in fact truly genuine, teachers can contact their potential and activate it with a single word or phrase or a single act or scene. What could be difficult about that? So the translators choose the word genuine. Let's just look at that for a minute, see what we can understand about that. Students are in fact truly genuine. That would first of all mean not divided, not doing something while the mind is somewhere else. It's not easy. Again, because of these habit forces of us doing just that, doing one thing with the mind somewhere else. I think it's another word you could use for genuine, that other masters have used, or other translators have used, is sincere. It is speaking or acting wholly, fully, undivided. In that state, anything can happen. Anything can trigger a change, an insight. He continues, the only problem is when your faculties are unstable and your consciousness shallow, whirled around and around like the wind in the treetops. True reality is shown to you thousands and thousands of times, but you still cannot mesh with it. It's here all the time. It doesn't increase or decrease what they're calling true reality. Mind. As we said yesterday, it's not more in Sesshin than outside of Sesshin. It's just that in Sesshin, because of all the sitting, we can more easily mesh with it, as he puts it, harmonize with it, which means become it, embody it. Oh yeah, here and then in the end he does use the word sincere. He says, therefore, in learning the way, what is most valuable is being true and sincere. No agenda, as we sometimes say. Nothing in the back of the mind going on, something related to one's own self-interest. Just one more here. People who practice the way begin by having the faith to turn toward it. They are fed up with the vexations and filth of the world and are always afraid they will not be able to find a road of entry into the way. It's that fed up. That's so important. To really be motivated to change, we have to be fed up with our life as it has been. Usually that means suffering, one way or another. Even in pleasure seeking, there can be suffering. Roshi Kapleau, in one of his books, when he's talking about where he's reaching this critical mass of discontent, where he said he can no longer enjoy the joyless pursuit of pleasure. Our society we live in, a society that is geared above all to the pursuit of pleasure and to the expectation that we should have our preferences, our likes met as much as we possibly can. That's not any way to find true peace. When you set your body on the meditation bench, it is no more than silencing and emptying the mind and investigating with your whole being. Interesting there, the word bench. There's no way we can know for sure what they actually used for their meditation. They're sitting in. This was the 12th century. We were on one of my pilgrimages to China. I was amazed to see. This was at Shaolin Temple, Bodhidharma's temple, that the monks let us sit with them for the morning sitting, and we had, as I remember, they were like concave wicker stools. So you sort of sat in this little bowl, shallow, but still it was concave. It was nothing that we'd ever been used to doing. But a bench would be a lot better than that. When you set your body on the meditation bench, it is no more than silencing and emptying the mind and investigating with your whole being. Just make your mind and thoughts clarify and become still. Let's change that verb. We don't have to make the mind clarify and become still. We just have to attend to the practice we're working on, and the mind will, on its own, clarify and become still. We don't want to make a project out of this, of doing something. We don't need to do anything. We just need to allow the thoughts to settle. Well, it's time to stop. Let's recite the 4 vows.